The time has come. Today, we stand united for change, and together we will achieve victory. Jai Hind!
Hey guys, namaskar. Back with an interesting video, and today it is about the regional party of Tripura, Tipra Motha's stunning victory in TTAADC, which is the Tripura Tribal Areas Autonomous District Council. And yeah, that's a stunning victory. I'll talk about it in a while, but let me just tell you what Tipra Motha is. Tipra Motha is the regional party of Tripura, and they are the second largest party in terms of assembly seats in Tripura. Uh, and they are led by the titular king of Tripura. I forgot his name. You can just look it up on the net. Yeah, so that's about it. So uh, back to their stunning victory, and in the latest TTAADC elections, they have won about 24 seats out of 28 seats, and in that election they were not. I mean, generally in the assembly elections they were with the BJP, but in this elections they were fighting separately, and out of 28 seats they won 24 seats, and four, the rest were won by BJP, and the left drew a blank. So by that number, by that margin, I think it's a stunning victory. And yeah, I mean, it's a great victory for the party. But let me just sort of sort of tell you about what I feel is happening, and what I feel is may happen going forward, with this. So what is Tipra Motha? Tipra Motha is basically a far right party, as in far right, as in they are led by the the family of the kings of Tripura, and that's why sort of there's a feeling of the son of the soil kind of feeling amongst the people when they see this party. So by that logic, it is very obvious that they will do well in tribal areas, because these areas, they are still very much attracted towards uh, how do I put it, towards their culture, and very much attracted towards the nativism, I would say. And so it is obvious that when they see somebody like somebody from the royal family leading a party and doing so well, they are going to sort of follow him as their next messiah, or whatever you call him rather. So yeah, what this implies is that people, especially in tribal areas, are still very tribal in their mindset. They are heavily sort of influenced by tribalism, and that I feel is a matter of concern, because what is tribalism? Tribalism is it's sort of uh, a mindset that lets one believe that he or she is part of a larger group. So it is a collective sort of mindset, and that actually puts the collective goals, or puts the group ahead of the individual. Uh, so obviously, by that logic, I think in assembly elections, Tipra Motha partnering BJP was a no-brainer, because by that logic, BJP's ideology is also pretty much the same. Also, they also go by a strong, nationalistic kind of ideology based on uh, thousands of years of culture and religious ideology and so on, uh, Hindutva basically. So yeah, so if you look at these two parties together, these two parties coming and forming a partnership is a no-brainer. And if BJP is the start of this sort of nationalistic identity amongst the people, then Tipra Motha is sort of the 2.0 kind of like the future uh, of these sort of politics, Peter. So when what BJP is trying to do is to establish nationalistic sentiment amongst the people based on Hindu culture, and unite everyone across the country with that sort of an ideology. So, but India being as diverse as it is, obviously is after a point is going to break into smaller factions like Tipra Motha, where people, identify themselves as part of, uh, sons of the soil, and, part of that particular area, and nobody else is even allowed to enter or allowed to, do anything without uh, them being considered as the rightful sort of people to, be there and do things. So yeah, I think BJP's natural sort of progression is Tipra Motha, which is, both are kind of collective sort of ideology, but Tipra Motha's is far more, sort of cultist and, tribal, if you may call it. At the same time, if you really look at the left in Tripura, which was also in power for a very long period before it lost out to BJP. The left ideology is also driven by a sort of collective ideology, an idealistic collective ideology called equality. Whereas, the idea of equality reigns supreme over any individual. So that also is another sort of collective ideology. And in a way, if you see, when the left was in power, they sort of perhaps uh, lured the people by saying, we are for everyone, and where we ensure that everyone is equal. And by that, they sort of they had people's backing, and they by the idealistic thought process of everyone is equal, just because people sort of look alike with two hands, two legs, whatever, and are also sort of procreatively compatible. But in reality, it is not the case. Two humans can never be the same. And if it's portrayed as the same, then that cannot be, nothing can be further from the truth. And I feel this sort of idealistic collective sort of ideology pretty much is the same as uh, the uh, the ideology that sort of uh, uh, advocates that a collective goal of nationalism, a collective goal of a certain religion, of being identified as part of a certain religion or part of a certain clan community is the same. So what I'm trying to say is the left and the right, by the virtue of both being being part of a collective ideology, are the same. So in this context, what is different from both the left and the right is what I feel Ayn Rand has been, I mean, Ayn Rand had written about it a long time back, and that is called, I mean, she had written about objectivism, of course, but here I'm talking about individualism. So I feel in both these, socialist ideology and conservative ideology, what uh, pays the maximum price is individualism. And if you think about it carefully, individualism is sort of very, it goes hand in hand with meritocracy. So meritocracy and individualism are two sides of the same coin, and both pay heavy price because of these two, sort of collective ideologies, which in realities, in theory, say are, you know poles apart, but if you just pick them out and think very clearly, you will see that the left ideology and the conservative ideology, the right ideology and the far right ideology, they are not too dissimilar. They are equal and they converge beyond a certain point at the expense of individualism and merit. So I hope i've been ex- I've been able to explain this properly. uh, if you like it, like, subscribe, and of course comment. If you have anything to share, please do comment and let me know. Bye bye, namaskar.